Welcome to this week's episode of the Need to Heed podcast with Jake Lynch.
And Fernando Davila.
This week's episode is called Organization for Optimization. And essentially, this week we're going to be talking about time organization, how that helps you out, what we can be doing to utilize it, and basically how it ties into our mindfulness and everything like that.
Yep, and as well as coming in for our mindfulness, it's also a great time to give you guys some tips and advice since we are all going back to school, whether it's virtually or in person. I think right around now is when everyone, college, high school, middle school, everything's going back to school. So it fits perfect with the timing as well.
Yeah, for a matter of fact, I am doing this podcast virtually with Fernando. I'm at my new dorm at the University of Florida. Very excited to start school here, and especially excited for classes next week and getting started with our futures. You already started, right, Fernando?
Yeah, unlike Jake, unfortunately, I was not able to move up to my college up in Orlando at UCF. I'm still doing everything virtually. I started this week, Monday. Everything's online though, but no biggie. Hopefully by spring, I'll be up there enjoying college life like you are, Jake.
Hopefully.
But either way, whether it's in person like Jake or virtual like me, time management and organization is very crucial. So hopefully this podcast helps you guys out, and let's get into it, Jake.
Yeah, so first off, we got to talk about what is time management. You could define time management as the process of planning and exercising conscious control of time spent on specific activities, especially to increase effectiveness, efficiency, and productivity. A time management system is a designed combination of processes, tools, techniques, and methods. So obviously that's important for a couple of reasons. Fernando can tell you why that's important.
Of course. So it's always important to have time management because it allows for you to take breaks and be less stressed. Obviously, a big issue that everyone has is stress. So time management can reduce that. It also allows you to prioritize things so you can see what is most important or most needed at certain times. And it also helps you set goals, which is always important in everything, whether it be in school, work, at home. So for those three reasons, it's very crucial.
Yeah, so those are some of the few things, but we have a section right now that we want to go over that lists out basically all of the ways that this is important, and it's a whole gang of reasons why time management should be a part of your life.
Of course. So I'm going to get into that just now, Jake. So like I mentioned earlier, for the stress relief, it is very important to not be stressed especially during times like this, where we are going back to school, where everything is new, whether it be online or in person. So making and following a task schedule reduces your anxiety. As you check off items on a to-do list, you can see that you are making tangible progress, which helps you avoid the feeling of stress, the feeling of running out of time, the feeling of being behind on something. So you don't really worry about whether you're getting things done. As you scratch things off of your to-do list, you can physically see that you're getting stuff done. You feel better. You visually see that you're using your time wisely. So that really does help release your stress at the time. Having a schedule also gives you more time in general. Good time management gives you extra time to spend in your daily life. People who can time manage effectively enjoy having more time to spend on their hobbies or other personal pursuits. I love getting stuff done because then I know, hey, I have a half hour, an hour, maybe even 2 hours if it's a light day of doing whatever I want, whether it's watch a movie, go outside, play video games, or literally whatever it is that you want to do. You just feel better. You feel relieved that everything is done. And now you have your time, your me time, whether it's this or watching one of our podcasts, watching one of our meditations. It just feels good to have that time for yourself. Now, it also gives you more opportunities. When managing your time well, it can lead to more opportunities and less time wasted on trivial activities. Good time management skills are key qualities that employers look for. Now, this is very true. I've had a job for over 3 years now, and I can tell you firsthand knowledge, it is crucial to use your time wisely, no matter where you are, especially at work. The ability to prioritize and schedule work is extremely desirable for any organization. At my job, we're responsible for doing many things at a time. So being able to multitask and get stuff done that you need to get done by the deadline is great, and it looks good on you as an employee for your managers or boss or whoever it is that's above you. It just shows really good character from you to have your time set out correctly and just be able to manage it in the right ways. Now, for the goal setting, it gives you the ability to realize goals. Individuals that practice good time management are able to better achieve goals and objectives and do so in a shorter length of time. So I'm gonna go back to my job just because that's something that I've experienced already. So if you have goals of whatever it is, it could be a promotion or whatever type of goal you want. It could be a raise, a promotion, a change in location. It doesn't really matter. If you're able to set that goal and manage your time wisely and schedule your time to meet that goal within a deadline, it truly does help because you're physically seeing what you have to do. You're not just thinking it in your head, oh, I have to do this so that my boss sees it. No, you go, you do your project, you get it done by the time the deadline is due. And for example, for myself, I got a promotion from being in one part of the organization I'm in to a different one. And all I had to do was literally set out my schedule, do this amount of work one day, try and do this amount, if not more, the next day. And it's just a progress and then it becomes muscle memory, really. You just know what you have to do to schedule yourself wisely and use your time wisely, just so that, it looks good for you and it actually helps you out. Like I said, gives you more time, more opportunities, more goal settings, and just overall releases your stress so that you're not really stressed out. Obviously, along with this, you have to do other things such as the meditations we've talked about and listening to our podcast. Stuff like that also really does help, and being mindful in every aspect of it. But having that time to be mindful is sometimes hard. I mean, it's my first week of school, and I can tell you having 4 new classes and it all being virtual does drain you. I mean, you do have a lot of work to get done in a short time period. So you do have to schedule wisely. I'm actually dealing with that right now as we do this podcast, having to, create a new schedule for myself so that I feel like I can get everything done in a timely manner and still not stress over it and still have time for myself. I'm not sure how it is for you, Jake, being up there in college already, but I'm sure you're gonna have to adjust your schedule and create new time habits, right?
Definitely will. I mean, it'll come down to getting used to my class schedule, my Zoom calls, due dates, stuff like that. But time management will definitely be a part of all of that.
Of course, and with the time management comes the organization, having everything you need at your availability at the time that you need it. Because like now we used to never use laptops in school because they were already provided on campus and stuff like that. Now we need our own type of stuff. We need that organization of knowing where what is, organizing our files on the computer rather than in our backpack. So
Yeah,
everything works hand in hand, but it's obviously a bumpy start, but you'll definitely, it becomes way easier once you do organize your time wisely.
definitely. Yeah. And then right now we can move on to some of the tips of how to make all of this easier, because not everybody knows really how to time manage. That's a big thing that can be a gap of knowledge for some people. But the first thing to know what to do when time managing would be set goals correctly. You have to set goals that are achievable and measurable. You have to use the SMART method, right? This meaning that your goal is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. To say that again, SMART. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. This meaning that you can truly measure whether you're getting to your goal. Some goals that you set, they're they may be achievable, but they're not necessarily measurable, right? So if your goal is to be happy, you can't really quantify happiness. You know, you can feel content, right? But you can't necessarily measure whether you've gotten to happiness. So
And
that's one thing.
something that can help you with that, because this SMART method is used all around, whether it be in school, work, home, whatever it is. I've seen the SMART method in many aspects. And sometimes they replace the relevant with the R for realistic. Like, is it realistic to have a goal of just being happy? Yes and no, because like Jake said, it's not so much measurable and attainable. It's more of a feeling of content. So different people have different definitions for their happiness or what makes them happy. So you have to think of that when you're setting your goals as well.
Exactly. Also, it's important to prioritize wisely. Prioritize tasks based on importance and urgency. For example, look at your daily tasks and determine which are important and urgent. So you have to do these tasks right away. Important but not urgent. So decide when you have to do them. And then urgent but not important. So you have to delegate these tasks if possible. And then not urgent and not important. And you can set those aside to do later. So when it comes to, let's say, homework, right? If you have a due date coming up and you have homework that decides your grade, that would be an important and urgent task. Or something that's important and not urgent is, say, a project, right? So let's say you get a month to do the project. Maybe it's not urgent right now. You don't feel the pressure yet, but being able to decide a time when you can do it, that's really important. Be able to set aside time to get things done. Now, for your third tip, that would be set a time limit to complete a task. Setting time constraints for completing the task helps you be more focused and efficient. Making the small extra effort to decide on how much time you need to allot for each task can help you recognize potential problems before they arise. That gives you a way that you can make plans for dealing with them. So what that means is that once you make a plan and once you decide what's important and urgent, you can set a specific amount of time. And when you do that, you're telling yourself psychologically that you only have this amount of time. And when you do that, your body already becomes more efficient. So this is a way to help yourself encounter less problems when doing a project or homework and anything like that. For your next tip, it comes down to taking breaks between tasks. When doing a lot of tasks without a break, it is harder to stay focused and motivated. Allow some downtime between tasks to clear your head and refresh yourself. Consider grabbing a brief nap, going for a short walk, or meditating. And as you know, from Mindful Me, meditating would be a huge thing to be able to consider when you're taking your breaks and being able to calm yourself down.
Now, however, it is important to not let these breaks extend too long. So I have that big problem of, I'll take a 5-minute break because I'm ahead of the game on what my homework. I was supposed to do it in 30 minutes and I'm almost done. It's only 15 minutes in. But then, for example, for me, the biggest problem is usually YouTube or something. You see a video, it's only 5 minutes. And you'll take that 5-minute break and you'll see the next one. It's another 5-7 minutes. That's fine. Next thing you know, an hour passed and you're way behind because of you taking a small break. So obviously, like Jake said, it is very important to take your break, to not get overwhelmed, and to, clear your head before continuing. But just obviously balance it out and don't take it too long,
Of course. Now for the last 3 tips. Third to last.
Jake, wait, your mic. Something happened with your mic. It was really, I don't know, like it was rubbing against something, I think. Say that again.
Well, for your third to last tip, we have organize yourself. This means basically that you want to put all of your tasks in some type of organizer utilize your calendar for more long-term time management. Write down the deadlines for projects or for tasks that are part of completing the overall project. Think about which days might be best to dedicate specific tasks. For example, you might need to plan a meeting to discuss cash flow on a day when you know the company of a CFO is available, right? When something important is going to happen, you can set that day for when you can achieve this important stuff. The second to last tip would be removing non-essential tasks activities. That is very important to remove excess activities and stress. Determine what is significant and what deserves your time, because in reality, you don't get time back. Time is an important aspect of life that you have to be able to utilize and be efficient with. And our last tip, which is probably the most obvious, is to plan ahead. Make sure you start every day with a clear idea of what you need to do, what needs to be done that day, and consider making it a habit to, at the end of each workday or each school day or each of every day, to go ahead and write out your to-do list for the next workday or school day or any day. And that way you can hit the ground running the next morning. So in terms of tips, overall, it's just important to be able to space out your activities and understand that this is a way for you to lessen your stress, and you can fit in mindfulness all throughout your day using this organization of time, which is very, very important.
Yeah, and for the last tip that you gave them, actually, the planning ahead, that's a really important one that we're going to be seeing a lot more of and using a lot more, just because of the way that the new system is for school. Being online, now teachers and professors are just giving you dates that are maybe a month ahead of time or 2 months ahead of time, or even the finals for your classes. And they're already scheduled. There's a date, there's a time, there's a place, there's everything. So it's important to plan ahead, because if you have one teacher giving you a final on one day, you can't plan to be available that day for something else, or to give another teacher a meeting, or to have another final the same time. Because now we have the opportunity to actually plan our entire semester out, or our entire school year out, because we already have the dates for everything. So it's crucial and very important to have your calendar open and review it almost every day. Look for what you have this week, tomorrow, and the following, just so that you don't schedule things on top of each other, because you're not going to realize that until the moment comes to it's, oh, wow, I'm having a final here, but I also have a meeting with this teacher here. That's not going to work out. And then that's what teachers don't like to hear, canceling the last minute, you know?
Yeah, that's very true. Just having everything together is very impressive from any point of view, whether it's an authority figure or just your peers. Being able to time manage is very impressive at any stage of life. So
Definitely.
without a further
said, sorry, what was that?
Without a further ado, we want to thank you guys for listening.
Of course, I hope you guys gained something out of this. We thought it was the perfect time to release a podcast in regards to time management and organization, because like we said, with school starting up again, we're going to be using it a lot. So hopefully it benefits you guys. Hopefully you guys learned something out of this. Like we always say, please leave it down in the comments if you guys want to see something specific on our next podcast, or if you want us to suggest any podcast for the others doing podcasts in Mindful Me, or honestly, whatever it is that you guys want to share with us, just comment it below. Remember, you can see us on all platforms: Spotify, radio.com, Google Play, Apple Music, and obviously YouTube. So yeah. Thank you guys.
All right. Thank you for the Need to Heed podcast, where the details make the big picture, with Jake Lynch
and Fernando Davila. Have a good one, guys.